So if you hear any BTS arguing or a fan spinning, it's because the house is falling apart again. And I love it. Goddamn mangoes, they really got me. Delicious little bastards, you know? Really, really got me. Anyways, we're back. I'm gonna point out and say that this like little screen grab screenshot ain't too bad of these two. Who am I kidding? A commenter mentioned that the brunette, this one, looked amazing versus this one who did not, and I have to agree with that. I think I'm just being fed up. I'm just, But hey, I hope you guys are having a good night. I hope if it's Friday where I'm at. I don't know when you're listening to this. I hope this Friday you got to spend it with people. This Friday night, you got to spend it with people, family, and friends that you care about, that care about you, people you enjoy being around. I hope you really got to do that. If not, I hope you got to enjoy some time to yourself because it's your alone time, your me time. You want to spend it so you can recharge your batteries, so you can be ready for this Monday to come. And for those of you out there working, listening to this, hey, thank you for listening. All 9 of you, I really appreciate it. If we can get a few more likes and follows and comments, that'd be great. But anyways, I'm just really happy somebody's listening to this, and I'm really happy for all the comments I get, which aren't a lot. But I appreciate it because with each comment I learn something new. I see things differently, and that's what it's all about. But anyways, let's just finish this up. Here we go. Okay, here we go again.
Anything?
No, no,
Okay.
no.
So going forward.
But what I want to say, Blaire, is we've all been at that point.
Right, and when I was at that point, I was respectful, and I never went into spaces that were not designated for me.
So real quick, Jessica Yaniv is trying to put Blaire on the spot by saying that because Blaire used to be a man, that it's okay for Jessica Yaniv to do the things that she was doing when she herself was a man. And Blaire's arguing that when she was a man, even though she was transsexual, she would only go to places, well, she just said it designated for her. So anyways, and I'm kind of, let's just hear this out.
That's the difference. You went in looking like 100% man, okay?
I didn't, because I did not start
hormone. There's a fine line. It's very fine.
Blaire, what I want to say here is on that form, it literally says that once it's signed, you have to abide and you have to present as the gender that you are on that form. You cannot tell me that.
And that's a problem because laws are messed up. They open the door for people like you to do harm to people. We've established that.
Blaire, you cannot tell me. Blaire, you can't tell me that after the first day of your transition that you did not look like you do right now. You cannot tell me that.
I've been very open about my journey. People have seen pictures. People have seen stages I've gone through.
Yeah.
No, I did not use the women's restroom until I walked down the street and everyone assumed I was naturally born female. I did not enter any kind of bathroom like that because that's the respectful thing to do. Most people.
But that's actually against the law.
Hold on. Most people, trans or not, let's even just remove the trans aspect from this. Most people who have their faculties in order and are of sound mind try to go through life like alleviating the pain of other people, like lessening the discomfort of those around them, or at the very least, choosing to try to not do harm. You do the opposite, and that makes you a predator. Do you understand that?
No.
Trans most people go through life trying to not upset other people.
What I don't think you understand, Blaire, is.
I understand because you also said I don't understand trans politics. I do it for a living, but what don't I understand?
What you don't understand is trans politics when it involves Canadian law, Pacific British Columbia law.
I've established that I disagree with the laws. I think Canada.
But
I just want to say this, right? Proportional to where I'm standing in the universe, whoever said that, I know what's right and I know what's wrong. In some parts of the world, there's some awful, awful shit that is legal. And I don't agree with it. And guess what? I'm not going to participate in just because I'm there. On the other hand, in some parts of the world, pot is legal, and it wasn't always legal in America. You get my point? So I know what's right and I know what's wrong, and I'm just going to stick to that. just because it's legal doesn't mean I should do it. I don't think that's what I think, in my opinion, this is an opinion, and I may be wrong, but in my opinion, this is not a fact, this is a statement of opinion. I believe, in my opinion, that that's what Jessica Yaniv's not understanding, that she's like, oh, well, because it's legal, I can do it. Well, hey, because it was legal almost 100 years ago. Well, no, not 100. Oh, yeah, 100. I could beat slaves, you know. It may have been legal, but it sure as hell was not right. Just because it's legal doesn't make it right, and just because it's illegal doesn't make it wrong. So here we go.
The law is the law here, Blaire.
The law is the law, and you are gaining the system. You are gaining.
I'm not gaming the system. I'm not gaming the system. What I'm doing is I'm abiding by those laws that we have.
I'm not saying you're doing anything illegal other than messaging young girls inappropriately. But as far as bathrooms or entering or even expecting the wax, that's actually not illegal. I'm not arguing it's illegal. I'm arguing that it's predatory, disturbing, and you're a fucking creep. That's what I'm arguing. Do you have anything to that?
If I go into a male bathroom, I get arrested. It's as simple as that. And I've seen your YouTube video. I've seen that video. And you know it's also the case down there too. Jessica, you know that.
Jessica, here's the deal. That is why the laws are unjust. You should not be able to be legally female before a doctor has overseen your transition and you present as female. 99.9% of the population has no problem with a trans woman who is making some sort of an effort to present as a woman in the women's bathroom. They have an issue with people like you who walk in presenting 100% as male, taking pictures of young girls. Do you understand the fine line and difference between those two things, or do you not understand? Is it not clicking? What's not clicking?
One sec. Let me show you something.
Something irrelevant again?
No.
I'm not really sure what's going on anymore. At this point, if I was Blaire, I would have given up. Because you get to the point where you realize that Jessica doesn't see things any other way besides her way. You know, and she believes she's in the right, even if she's in the wrong. And I have to take sides with Blaire on this one. I really do. But hey, look, we still got, 44, and now we're 10. God. Let's see if something comes up and changes our mind. Here we go.
No, let me show you this. This is literally the form to change your gender. That's the form right there. It's all you have to do is basically say, hey, okay, I'm changing from male to female, and that's it.
And that's a problem. I've established that.
Stop.
Yeah, I have to agree with Blaire. That seems a little too simple for me. When I was a teenager, we were so dumb. But we joked about like dressing up as girls to go into the girls' locker room. The first time I was ever in a girls' locker room, I couldn't wait to get out because it smelled weird. Not to say that the boys' locker room smelled any better. But I can't wait for the hate mail to show for that one, which there probably isn't going to be any. I'm okay with that. But yeah, that seems too simple for me. If somebody can enlighten me and like provide more details to what may be going on, maybe like punishment for going to the wrong restroom and bathroom in Canada is more severe than I originally thought it was. But just tell me what's up.
That's the form right there.
Have you thought at all about the impact that you've had on these women's businesses and how it's hurting them financially and how they're getting attacked because of the...
Okay, I had to stop right here because it says it's not a question of whether... let's see. The problem is it's never a question of whether or not you can... But the question is whether or not you should do something. Like presenting male and going into a female's bathroom. That question never crossed Yaniv's mind. And I have to agree with that. It's not whether you can, but should you do that? Should you? Should you do that? Should you really do that? Are you healthy enough to do that? Are you not healthy enough to do that? Should you do that? You're 9 months pregnant. Should you really be on a roller coaster? You're not pregnant. Should you really be on a roller coaster? Banjo, you're too fat. Should you really eat another Twinkie? It's all about the should, not could. It's all about the should.
Drama, stress, and financial ruin that you put them through. Do you ever empathize with them or
No.
think that was you
Because
don't.
they're not getting attacked. The person that's getting attacked is me. They're not getting attacked. You know
Well,
how
you're not getting your balls waxed as an attack.
you know how I know they're not getting attacked? Basically they're saying, oh, they're getting really insulting phone calls. They're getting this. The reason is because they're not they're not like retail businesses. The one retail business that I got shut down is already shut down. I already got them shut down.
Why are you proud of shutting down someone's business? That's sick.
Why? Because literally, if you go and you book an appointment, you say, they go and they book you. They have no problem booking you for a male wax, and then you say that you're trans, and then they go and they refuse your service. That's the problem there. And you know that's a problem.
The fact that you are proud of shutting down a business and someone's ability to feed their children makes you sick. And I know you don't particularly care about children. Maybe you do a little too much actually. But the point I'm trying to
That was a really that was a good pedophile joke. Way to go, Blaire. Taking shots at this guy. Way to go. I'm not even sure I should be applauding that, but it's I read a comment on the site that said it's like talking to a brick wall, and I do have to admit it really is like talking to a brick wall now.
get you to understand is that you have to stop hurting people. It really comes to that. You are, though. You can say that you're not, but you are. Those little girls that get messages from you, sexual messages, voice recordings of you making baby sounds, as if, like, do you think that those young girls, like, were like, turned on by your baby sounds? Or
what
like
baby sounds? Well, the one that I sent my friend.
That you sent your friend that happened to come and get into the chat between you and a young girl?
You can forward messages on Facebook.
Right, but it wasn't forwarded. She literally filmed the chat on her phone. She filmed her laptop, the chat. It was messages from you. You can't just deny everything. That's the other thing. I would have more respect for you. I mean, maybe not, but I would at least appreciate if you just owned up to this shit. But you're not owning up to anything.
Why would I own up to something I didn't do?
But you did.
I didn't.
You did. There are tweets as far back as...
Remember, yaha, nah, yaha, nah. Deny works. Like I said, we don't have any concrete proof or evidence that Yaniv did these things, but it's not looking good. And if you're in the whole like believe all women, then what do you do now? Anyways,
2011 with people talking about how disturbing you are. That's you've been enjoying this misconduct and inappropriately talking to young girls for almost a decade unchecked. And that's why I'm here to check you. That's why I made the video, because you've been checked. And I hope everyone watching this is a really big platform that you're on. I hope everyone remembers your face. I hope everyone knows to avoid you. I hope anyone planning to go to any topless kids party where you may attend does not take their kid, right? You remove.
parents from Canada, because this happened in Canada, so maybe you guys know better than I do. Why would he take your kid to that? What progressive bullshit is this? And I'm sorry for saying progressive, because I'm pretty sure it's definitely not coming from conservatives. They probably have some weird ass, like, marry your daughter bullshit so she can keep her virginity thing like I saw on TV once. But what kind of weird progressive pedophile bullshit is this? Somebody explain it to me, because it really feels like I'm out of touch with the world, and maybe I missed something. But it just feels like I'm out of touch with this. Maybe I'm just, like, so upset at this video and this conversation. I have no idea. Somebody fill me in, please. Please. Please.
The topless party shouldn't happen anyways. And I hope that you get help. Do you have anyone in your life who's critical of what you're doing at all? What do your parents think? What do your family think? Your friends?
My parents are fully supportive of this. 100%.
That's that.
Blaire, you know,
All right, I'm going to have a very, very honest, like, no joking aside, frank, short discussion with you guys. My parents, even when I have a good idea, question me about what I'm going to do. And I think that's a blessing, because it gives me a moment to sit down and analyze what I've done and what I'm going to do and why I am going to do that. And I've taken that practice with me to just about everywhere, and I'm very thankful for that. Because even when it's a good idea, yo, hey, pops, dad, I'm gonna buy some property. Well, why? What kind of property? What are you gonna do with it? How much is it? Can you afford it? Can you not afford it? This, that, so on and so forth. I've always appreciated that, and I think that sort of challenge and push is good for developing kids and adults, because sometimes we get so set in our ways that we become lost. So, but anyways, I just want to share that.
You,
That's
you're,
not. I would have hoped that you would maybe have someone in your life that could step up, like I said in that video,
you're not
that
understanding
would
this, Blaire.
or at the very least keep you away from kids.
You're not understanding this. The fact of the matter is that the tribunal member, Ms. Cusino, has already stated that gender affirming care is important. What I'm trying to receive is gender affirming
I don't know what that means.
care. I'm going to be winning all these cases. There's no doubt.
You know what's sick? I'm sure you fucking will. I'm sure you fucking will.
I will. Because they very simply discriminate. There is basically an equation for discrimination in the BC law. And I've met all those variables of discrimination. Everything's met.
So okay, Canadians out there, anybody, anyone, I don't even care anymore. Dudes who are nowhere near Canada. If Jessica Yaniv wins, does that mean that other women are gonna be forced to handle male genitals when they don't want to? I'm not trying to be funny. Like, this is like a genuine legal question that I'm having. So if any legal experts out there, does that mean that Jessica Yaniv will have to handle women's genitals? I mean, not Jessica. Will women have to handle Jessica Yaniv's genitals, or will women have to handle male genitals? Because it really feels, I don't know. I don't think that's right. I don't think Canada should be pushing for that. Um, I don't think the Canadian society should be supporting that, something that could lead to that. But if that's what they're into, then that's what they're into, and it doesn't make it okay, in my opinion. It makes it really wrong, because if the implication here being, and there's no boats around, if you guys get that reference, good for you. You should probably watch less television. I'm just kidding. But if the implication here is that, I guess there are boats around with this context. If the implication here is that if Jessica wins these cases, women will be forced to handle male genitals, then what did we just do? Well, not we. What did Canada just do? In an attempt to show tolerance, they've allowed sexual battery or exploitation. I don't know. Let's see what happens.
The matter is that my gender identity was relevant in the refusal of service, and I got refused service.
Have you ever touched a young girl?
No.
Have you ever been intimate with someone under the age of 18?
No.
I don't believe you. I don't believe that someone who has messages and tweets and receipts going back a decade of inappropriate conduct online has never touched a young girl.
Never. Ever. Why would I, Blaire?
Why would you send the messages?
I didn't send the messages.
You did.
Can you prove it?
Yes, the evidence goes back a very long time, and they're not only screenshots. Those tweets exist on Twitter that you can search up of young
Okay,
girls.
show me the tweets from 2000.
I'm not going on Twitter right now. I'm not looking for everything. I have everything on my phone. I'll be happy to publish everything on my Instagram and Snapchat story afterwards. People are interested, or even the description on this video. But what I'm going to say is that you and I both know that you have, at the very least, been inappropriate with young girls online, and at worst, actually made physical contact with them. And I genuinely hope you haven't.
Making what?
Physical contact. And I genuinely hope you haven't, because everything leads to that being something that you want to do.
You know what I'm gonna say, Blaire, is you're saying conduct has gone back since 2011.
Right, why are there girls tweeting in 2011?
No, wait.
Creepy.
Wait, if conduct has gotten back since 2011, we're now in 2019. I've never been arrested. I've never been in jail.
People get away with a lot. People do a lot of things behind closed doors, and I commend the brave young 15-year-old girl who was on, I think, the Post Millennial, sharing her story of the inappropriate contact between you and her. I commend her. And I would have hoped, it's not a reality, unfortunately, but I would have hoped that someone in your family would make an effort to keep you away from young girls. But I'm hoping that
Ugh, just yawned right there. Maybe I'm just tired. That's what's going on today. But hey, I'll give Yaniv, that little leeway, which is that some women do lie about serious things. It does happen, so we should have to entertain that. That being said, the more I watch this, the more I distrust of Jessica Yaniv. Um, anyways,
the videos I've done on you and now with you are enough to sort of advertise that to the point where people do stay away from you.
What did they? When I've done absolutely nothing wrong.
You've done nothing wrong.
No, I haven't. And you can't say that I have. Because all I've done is assert my right as a Canadian and as a British Columbian to receive the services that I am entitled to receive.
You're gaming the system to hurt people. You're gaming the system.
I'm not gaming the system, Blaire.
You are.
What I'm doing is I'm basically taking. Okay. Well,
do you think you're fighting a good fight? Is this you're justified in everything that you've done? Shutting down women's businesses, sending young girls messages, like you're a monster.
I'm not.
You are though.
Blaire, I'm not the monster. Blaire.
It's fucking monstrous.
I'm not the monster because I'm the victim, actually. Because
You're not a
I
victim.
am the victim.
I've never liked the idea of people running to be the victim. I've been through some awful shit in my life, and it's so weird because in a way you begin to sniff out people who've gone through the same thing, and all those people like myself work so hard not to be a victim. Like, hey, we're gonna like come out of this on the other side. So whenever I see somebody rushing to be a victim, like, hey, I'm the victim, it hurt me, I'm very distrustful of those people because I always assume there's something wrong with them. They need help or they're up to no good. And it's usually that they're up to no good. They have some sort of agenda that you don't know, and they're trying to just like get that agenda going, done, completed, and implemented. And it's just whenever anyone runs to be the victim, I do not trust them. Don't get me wrong. Like there's obviously scenarios where somebody is a victim and they should be treated as such. But in this case, this idea of handle my genitals, let's assume that the woman said, yes, I will. I am a female who's comfortable with waxing male genitals. And the moment Jessica gets in, the female says, you know what, I'm not really comfortable with this anymore. I don't want to do it. She shouldn't be forced to do it, but I don't know. The single fact that there's laws in Canada that allow this stuff, somebody please explain to me, because I've run out of steam. I'm really trying to be as level-headed here as possible, but it just seems absurd, and it's getting so out of hand, and no one is calling anyone out? No one? No one. Okay, fair enough.
You're not a victim. You're not a victim. And you and I both know that you...
You know what? I shouldn't say no one is calling anyone out. There's quite a few people calling out Jessica Yaniv. But the simple fact that at the legal level, it seems like Canada's so open to this stuff, that's a huge social failure and legal failure, in my opinion. But again, I may be wrong. There's something that happened in Canada that I don't know about. So please leave me a comment. If you guys go back and see all the other comments left from me, even the ones that did seem slightly racist, I've always said thank you, and it gave me a new way to look at things. I may not write you back a full essay response, but I'll try to read whatever you guys do leave. So I really appreciate that.
Fucking love the attention that all this has gotten you. You and I both know. Because on Twitter, I think it was last night when I was just checking in to make sure you're confirming, because I thought you were going to flake on this.
Why would I flag?
You started tweeting about how you're hotter than me, which is hilarious. And then you DM'd me and you said, hey, I hope you know I didn't mean that. I'm just trying to put on a show and gain an audience. So you love it. You love it. And I would have not platformed you in this way, but I do think it's more important. I think the ability for your face to be seen and outed as a predator supersedes your love of the attention. So you can love the attention, and that's fine. I'm just
Blaire.
What?
If you this is how I'm gonna put it. If you get raped, and you go and you report it, does that make you a predator because you're going after this guy that just raped you?
Do you understand?
What the hell are you talking about? Nothing to do with what you're going through. Nothing. Okay. Okay. What? No. You didn't get raped, Yaniv. They just didn't want to handle your genitals. If anything, they didn't want to be felt up by you. Jesus Christ.
And how far off that
No,
situation.
no.
From this situation, everything that you have done, it's irrelevant. It makes no sense. There's no point in bringing it
It
up.
does make sense because the law's the law. It doesn't matter what section of the law it is. It's still the law.
We have admitted that the laws are there. In my opinion,
The laws are there to protect us.
in my opinion, you are using those laws to do harm. There is no reason why you would be denied 1 time, 2 time, 3 time, 4 time, 5 time, 6 time, 7 time, 8 time, 9 time, 10 times.
You know why? Because we have fucked up people here that migrate over here that think that they can do whatever the fuck they want.
What?
We have people that migrate here that think they can do whatever the fuck they want and refuse service to anyone for any reason that they want. I got a
problem is with immigrants.
I'm gonna back that up a little bit, just a little bit, because I sort of dozed off. What did I miss? Okay, we are at 53, so let's go back to 52. Okay, ready? Here we go.
I am the victim.
You're not a victim. You're not a victim. And you and I both know that you fucking love the attention that all this has gotten you. You and I both know. Because on Twitter, I think it was last night when I was just checking in to make sure you confirming because I thought you were going to flake on this.
Why would I flake?
You started tweeting about how you're hotter than me, which is hilarious. And then you DM'd me and you said, hey, I hope you know I didn't mean that. I'm just trying to put on a show and gain an audience. So you love it. You love it. And I would have not platformed you in this way, but I do think it's more important. I think the ability for your face to be seen and outed as a predator supersedes your love of the attention. So you can love the attention and that's fine. I'm just
Blaire.
What?
If you this is how I'm gonna put it. If you get raped and you go and you report it, does that make you a predator because you're going after this guy that just raped you?
Do you understand how far off that situation?
No.
From this situation, everything that you have done, it's irrelevant. It makes no sense. There's no point in bringing it up.
It does make sense because the law's the law. It doesn't matter what section of the law it is. It's still the law.
We have admitted that the laws are there. In my opinion,
the laws are there to protect us.
In my opinion, you are using those laws to do harm. There is no reason why you would be denied 1 time, 2 time, 3 time, 4 time, 5 time, 6 time, 7 time, 8 time, 9 time, 10 times.
You know why? Because we have fucked up people here that migrate over here that think that they can do whatever the fuck they want.
What?
We have people that migrate here that think they can do whatever the fuck they want and refuse service to anyone for any reason that they want. I got a problem
with immigrants.
Blaire.
I'm gonna stop them right there and just say this. I don't care if it's an immigrant from my mother's homeland, Mexico, who goes to Canada and refuses service to Blaire because Blaire is a white man or woman. I don't care. The moment Blaire says, wax my genitals, and that woman says no, she could be the most racist Mexican woman in the world, like that Mexican lady I met in Canada. Guess what? I'm going to side with this woman who refuses to wax Blaire's genitals. I don't think this is a problem. I have no idea where Blaire's going with this. It obviously, in one of the previous videos I made, I pointed out that Blaire has a history with immigrant population. Not trying to imply anything. Just go watch the videos. Look up some news. She's made some interesting comments that you could tell she's not fond of immigrants. But still, if you're gonna stand on a hill and die there, make sure it's not one where you're forcing people to touch your genitals. Okay? Make sure it's not that. If anything, she could be like, hey, I went to a Muslim bakery and they didn't want to make me a cake for my husband and I, or my transgender friend and I, because they didn't agree with that. Or hey, I went to I don't know, I think if I remember correctly, one of my friends told me that her mosque they still separated men and women, or and they didn't let me into the men's section. Then yeah, sure, why not? I'm not too fond of religion either. Or I went to a Catholic, I was raised Catholic. I went to a Catholic church and they didn't want to let me be a female priest. They wanted me to be a nun. Okay, whatever, I get that. You know, there's like a lot of archaic things that come in a lot of cultures across everything. And I'm not just saying like immigrants, like local cultures to me, cultures far away from me. All cultures have their downsides, right? And they all have their upsides. But the moment you argue about touching people's genitals, that's a big no-no. Even and I had to say it to Jessica, even though she's not listening. But I'm gonna put it like this, and it's gonna be very condescending and patronizing. Guess what, Jessica? Even immigrants have the right to refuse service to you, especially when it comes to touching your genitals, because they don't have to. But let's see what else Jessica has to say, because guess what? Maybe there's more going on there, or maybe I just finally fucking snapped.
Yeah, I am. I got a phone call yesterday from my credit card company when I was sitting in the hospital, and from someone named from American.
And
Hold on. From someone named Babu at American Express phoned me saying, "Hey, I want to talk to Jessica. This is the fraud department because I did a call." So she said her name was Babu, and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm Jessica. What's the problem?" Like, "No, I need to talk to Jessica." And then she hung up the phone. I phoned back. I told them what happened.
Is it because you sounded like a man?
Exactly.
So what does it have? What does it have to do with being an immigrant?
What I'm gonna.
I'm practically tone deaf. Not even that. I'm just terrible on the phone. If you think I'm bad on this, you should hear me on the phone. Stuttering, fumbling, mumbling, you name it. Everything sounds the same to me on the phone, so I just put it on speakerphone. Unless I'm wearing headphones or got like a really nice like. But anyways, I first of all, if your credit card company is well, that's not polite, Angel Gutierrez. You know what? I'm not even gonna touch upon this thing because it just at this point there's no saving Jessica Yaniv. Let's see where this train wreck takes us.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's because immigrants, they think.
I don't think only immigrants would think you sound like a man. I think that's probably a popular opinion.
There you go, Blaire. You said it for me. You said what I was thinking, but I couldn't verbalize because the more time I spend on this microphone, the more I let loose and the less I make sense. Jesus. Not that it ever made sense to begin with, but thank you, Blaire. Thank you.
I might, but you can't tell me, Blaire, that before your transition you did not sound the way you currently do. You cannot.
I've always sounded like this. My voice never drops. I've always sounded like this.
Well, you're lucky.
My voice.
You're lucky.
Right. So what does it have to do with them being immigrants? That's so weird. You're weird.
No. The fact of the matter is that immigrants have a very, very distasteful taste on the trans community. Very.
I've never experienced that, and I'm trans, and I've been trans for longer than you.
Because you don't live here, Blaire. You don't live here.
Okay.
Maybe Canada's the most hateful place in the world, and it just so happens that when I was there for the time I was there, which wasn't a day or two, it was a couple of days, in fact, almost a month. Or like 2 weeks or some shit like that. Maybe every person I came across was just a happy-go-lucky person who was really fond and loving of human people, and they just wanted everybody else to have a good and successful life. Maybe Canada's a hateful place, but I don't think so. I just think there's something wrong with Jessica. Now, we can talk about the problems of immigration. We really can, and guess what? There's quite a bit of problems. There's a lot. I remember working very closely with this young lady who basically told me how the coyotes that had brought her over raped her. They just raped her. They gang raped her over and over again. And if it wasn't for Border Patrol, she would have died. You know, she would have died in the desert. So, you know, we can talk about the human trafficking, the sexual assault, the violence, the slave labor. There's a lot of immigrants who come to California. And I have this weird conspiracy theory that Democrats want them here for the cheap labor so they could, like, not just Democrats, Republicans, like, all politicians are parasites, Democrats and Republicans. And they just want them here for cheap labor so they could exploit them. They'll give them like a little bit of health care, a little bit of government assistance, and just exploit the hell out of them and their children. It's just a conspiracy theory, which I'm more than happy to entertain with you guys later. But there's just something wrong with Blaire here. And you know what? Blaire sounds like a man. I know it's hateful to say this about the trans community, but she really does sound like a man. I don't really care. And I think one of the dogs just peed inside. Oh, I gotta go clean this up. We'll finish this up later. Talk to you guys later. Peace. Bye. I love all y'all.